thank you so much for joining us. Yesterday was obviously a huge historical day for the Japanese yen, especially for those watching, not just to carry trades, but certainly just trading the spot price on the yen. Now, the real question is, and we asked this yesterday, well, yesterday was certainly a big day, but what happens 24 hours later? And we see that the yen is stronger once again. Why are we not seeing possibly more follow-through today?
Yes, I think it will not be I think the Minister of Finance BOJ's action was very decisive, and I expect that this kind of action will continue. So I would expect the dollar yen's downside will be very limited from here. I think the size of the intervention seems to be large according to the media reports, but yen selling intervention can be, in principle, done unlimited. So in that sense, if the Minister of Finance can show that they are decided, then I think they can continue as long as they want.
Before the Bank of Japan took this action, there was a lot of discussion amongst Forex strategists that for an action to be successful, it needed to be a global and coordinated event among different central banks. Now, yesterday, we saw, of course, the Bank of Japan take notice and move. However, we saw the ECB, the European Union today, with some perhaps a little bit hawkish remarks saying that they didn't think that it would have been more useful if it was more coordinated. So clearly, we're not all on the same page. Any particular reason why you think the Bank of Japan decided to sort of do this on their own versus working with the other central banks?
Yen has appreciated a lot after the Lehman shock. And it appreciated much more, especially against the Japanese competitors like South Korea and Germany. So I think to safeguard the Japanese competitiveness and also to fight against the deflation, I think the intervention was necessary to stop the yen's further appreciation. I think the intervention will not be an offensive one to push up the dollar yen toward 90 or 95, rather to stop the further appreciation, for example, dollar yen to prevent dollar yen falling below 80.
Do you think on a technical basis that the markets need to test where we hit in terms of the highs on the 15-year high? Do we need to test that mark to see if the Bank of Japan is really going to put in additional funds to push the market? And I'm saying that because one of the big traders I was talking to in the FX market said that if you draw that line in the sand, the market's going to want to test that.
Yes, certainly, but it fully depends on the other developments as well. And the U.S. economic development is also one of the most important factors. And if the U.S. economy will not show the double-dip recession, then U.S. yields rises, and the dollar yen will follow suit naturally. So I think as long as we see that kind of sign, I think the Minister of Finance and the BOJ should continue its effort to stop the yen's appreciation. And as I said, I think the size of the intervention can be unlimited. So if the Minister of Finance can show its decisive stance, then they can dissuade the speculators.
All right, that's very interesting. So what I'm sensing from you is that you perhaps think that the yen could hit 90 before it hits 80, as long as the U.S. economy does not double dip. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. However, the U.S. economic recovery should be moderate, even if it avoids the double dip recession. So in that sense, the dollar's recovery will also be very moderate. So I wouldn't expect that dollar yen will rise to 90 by the end of this year.
Okay, final question for you. If you're an investor on the sidelines or you're hedging out certain positions in the Forex market, what are you advising your clients to do at this point? Is it time to cover or is it time to short? What makes most sense in your point of view?
Well, my sense is that stop speculating the higher yen. And also, if the Japanese exporters who need to buy the yen, I think it's better to sell at any rallies. As I mentioned, the U.S. economic recovery will be very moderate, so we cannot expect the big rise of the dollar against the yen. So any rally should be the opportunity for the exporters to sell, to raise the hedge ratio.
Okay, Masafumi Yamamoto, thank you very much for joining us from Barclays Bank in Tokyo. Thank you for your insights.